So I'm not sure what I'm going to end up titling this video. Obviously, by the time you read this, I will have decided that. I'm sure I'm going to go with something like Final Fantasy XIV in 2025, having the best time in my life. I don't know. That's not even an exaggeration. Literally, right now, it's February 20th, 2025. Final Fantasy XIV is a huge part of how I spend my time. Like when I look at everything in my life, Final Fantasy XIV, huge part of my life. And I am having not only the best time with Final Fantasy XIV, but it's had such a positive impact on my life overall and my husband's life for that matter. I make a lot of content about Final Fantasy XIV. Would I go so far to say I am a 14 creator? Probably not, because I think the reason why I hesitate embracing that term is because I feel like the definition is different based on who you're talking to. Am I a content creator? Yes, proudly. And I have been for almost a decade of my life. And my husband is as well. And this is our business. And, it has been our business for years. Do I make a lot of content about Final Fantasy XIV? Probably exclusively Final Fantasy XIV, at least on this channel. So, by that definition, am I a 14 creator? Yes. The reason why I hesitate, though, is because I feel like from a viewer perspective, from somebody who watches a lot of Final Fantasy XIV creators, I don't think I match, I don't know, however somebody would define what a 14 creator is. And the reason why I say that is because I don't watch 14 creators. I just don't watch 14 content. All the content I get about 14 is like 99% exclusively from the Heather Just Played Discords. And that's why I hesitate to call myself a 14 creator, because it means that I'm aware of the culture of 14 content, and I'm not. Anyway, all that to say, obviously I create a lot of content about 14. So when I log on to YouTube, a lot of the thumbnails and a lot of the videos that are populated in my home feed are 14 related. And I don't want to pull anything up because I don't want to put anybody on blast or draw attention to anything, but I'm just going to recall from memory some of the thumbnails that I've seen, say in like the past 2 months, right? I've seen thumbnails about like, Final Fantasy XIV record low, whatever, users or subscribers, or something that implies like people are leaving in droves, and the implication of this is a sign of of everyone is leaving, of this game is failing, of, whatever, bad, it's bad. I've seen other things of like, something about like, we need to talk about the Yoshi P situation. The real problem with Final Fantasy XIV, how can Final Fantasy XIV fix itself, or what needs to be done, or whatever. And then this morning I saw two things. I saw a post on Reddit. I couldn't find it, but it was something like, I want to play 14. I think what was happening was that they were seeing all this bad news, and it was kind of making them feel confused, right? And feeling like maybe they shouldn't like it either, because when you see all this negativity, it makes you feel weird, right? Now, what does that have to do with Final Fantasy XIV? I am not kidding when I say that I'm having the best time ever. There's nothing different about the game. I'm playing the same game that you're all playing. And I'm also not kidding when I say that it's had such a positive impact on my life. Like, I can't tell you how fulfilled I am, how happy, how motivated and driven, and just like empowered I feel. All these things that I would hope every human being feels some aspect of in their lives, from wherever, however you want to get it, whether it's, this hobby or this community or whatever. I get all of that from 14. And I feel like it's important, not that people's concerns about this game they love so much are invalid, right? I'm not trying to invalidate the things that people want to highlight, whether it's negative things or bad news, or, even sharing their opinions on the state of Final Fantasy XIV and all that. I'm not trying to invalidate all of that. All of that is valid. What I want to do, though, is shine a light on the positive that is happening. Because I feel like it's important to know that while all this negative stuff is happening and is there's also this positive that's happening, right? Because I feel for the person who's like, I really want to like this, but you're just consumed by all this. I just want to show, hey, this is also happening. One of the biggest differences of being a human being in 2025 versus being a human being in, say, like 1900 is that in 2025 is really, really hard to listen to your own voice. It is so hard to feel and identify what those feelings mean and to sit with it and reflect about it. Because every time we're bored, every time our mind starts to wander, this immediately, compulsively, right? Without even thinking. I'm not saying I don't do that. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that's what happens, right? And when you do this, you immediately fill your head with other people's voices, other people's opinions, other people who, seemingly have an authoritative air about them because they have a YouTube channel or whatever. And they tell you what they feel is important. And I think that influences how you interpret your own feelings. And so you could be the player who is having a great time, but you are constantly bombarded by a lot of bad news and a lot of videos that are, implying that it's all bad news. And so you feel confused. Am I doing anything different from like with 14? No, I don't think so. I'm not doing anything that anybody else can't do. But what I do think is different is the community that has built around my channel. And I have thought a lot about why it's different, right? There's magic happening here. This is how I'll call it. I will call it literal magic because it's so impossible to find in this world in 2025. It is so difficult. It's so hard. Everything is so negative and stressful. And, I look at what's happening in this community and I see not only the obvious like happiness and joy and fun, most importantly, right? But I see these really meaningful experiences of, for example, somebody pushing themselves out of their comfort zone and trying something new, feeling like they are progressing, like having some kind of personal growth as a human being through Final Fantasy XIV and through the experiences that are being created in the Heather Just Play community. The last two videos on this channel are replays of town halls that I hosted in the Heather Just Play Discord. But here's a clip from the first one. Empowerment. So giving yourself the chance to try something new or different. I can't tell you how many times, how many of you guys have told me, have shared with me through Discord, through YouTube comments, through Instagram comments, through messages of like, I never thought I would do group content. I've never signed up for Discord. I've never been a part of something like this. I've never tried other classes. I've never done PvP. I've never done housing. I've never, taken charge of something. I've always been the person who's a wallflower. I've always been the person who, I don't do these things. Yet, you try here. I don't know why I'm crying. I think that's really cool and special. I know I'm crying. It matters to me. It matters that you have these things, that these things happen. Woo! So as you can tell, I feel very strongly about the magic that is happening here. And some people might, laugh at the term magic and the idea of people having fun. All the experiences and all of these meaningful moments that are happening in Heather Just Play are absolutely incredible, not just in the 14 community, but in life, right? Like in life as human beings in 2025, this kind of genuine community where you're not only getting recreation and fun, right? Which is, let's face it, that's the number one reason why you would play a video game. But I think for a lot of people in the Heather Just Play community, it really does go beyond recreation. You know, I think it really does. I don't know. I don't want to say fill a void, but it provides what people, the human need of community, the human need of connecting with other human beings. I think a lot of that is happening here in How They Just Play. It has nothing to do with the features of Final Fantasy XIV or whatever's coming up in the patch, or, those are all important. Again, I'm not invalidating those things, but it's not required to still have fun. I know it's not, because it's happening, right? Like, it's happening in this community. Here's another thing that I saw on Reddit. This is old, but it just made me feel away. All right, so this is from 3 years ago. I have a feeling, though, if people read this now, you would think it's funny, right? Like, I don't know what half of it means, because I don't know. I don't follow 14 content. But yeah, okay. Have an interesting personality. Oh, sorry. This whole thing is comprehensive guide to being a 14 content creator. Should have clarified that. Okay, have an interesting personality is optional. Reacting to Pint. I don't know who Pint is. React to misshapen chair. Don't know what that is. React to Joe Cat. I do know who Joe Cat is. He talks fast, which equals comedy. React to Lucy Pyre. React to Asmongold. Bonus points if you start imitating his mannerisms. Make occasional market board guy that ends up ruining the economy for a while and crashing certain materials. Have your community do the legwork for you by sending you 10,000 inane questions, personal stories on Twitter. Speculate aimlessly about future updates that will likely never happen. Act like you're above it all, regardless of the fact that 14 content is the only thing people know you for. Read patch notes word for word. In fairness, your fans probably can't read. Play the MSQ. Be sure to get misty-eyed and call it a stupid weed game. This is a very original joke. Make it often. If you ever mess up and show signs of being a real person, be sure to cry about it and apologize. A bonus tip, if you're famous enough to have people who criticize you with consistency, milk your moderator's power trips for content and make a 4-hour video reading ban appeals. This isn't sociopathic narcissism. Don't worry. So again, this is from 3 years ago, but here's how I found this, right? So I was searching for some kind of contact over at Square Enix to see if they had a Final Fantasy XIV content creator program, because I really do think that if they knew what was happening here at How They Just Play, I think they'd be open to a conversation. I have a ton of contacts being a YouTube creator for so long, but none in the gaming community, So I was just looking, but that's the thing that was like at the top of the search results. I just felt icky. I felt sad and icky is the best way that I can describe it. I could probably unpack that with you on this video, but I'm sure that some of you probably find it hilarious, right? Especially if you are someone who watches a lot of 14 content. If you know who these content creators are, it's probably so funny to you. To me, though, who isn't, again, someone who doesn't necessarily consider themselves part of the 14 creator community, I just feel sad. I feel sad that that someone would go out of their way to create something, right, that mocks a lot of people's, I don't know, genuine effort. It just makes me sad, because it's like, at the end, it's also a self-own, because I don't know if it's purely satire, but to me it screams of like bitter, like you are. I feel anger. I get anger vibes, right? And the self-own part is like the thing that I really love about YouTube is that it is totally voluntary. unlike TikTok, unlike Instagram, that you don't know what video you're going to watch next, right? It's just an auto-populated algorithm. For YouTube, you have to click. You have to click for the next video to play. You have to click on the content that you're actually going to be watching. No one is making you watch any of this, right? And so that's why the self-own is like, you're making fun of the content that you're watching that no one made you watch in the first place, you know? And also, like, it's hard to be a content creator. It's hard. I don't blame people for like doing things that they feel is going to make them go viral. However, people like, I don't know. It just makes me feel weird because it's like, I don't know.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm Heather's husband. I have a YouTube channel, and I also am a sprout in Final Fantasy XIV, and proud member of the Kraken's Call Free Company.
Yes, you are.
One thing that I had said was when you did your first town hall meeting a few weeks ago, you were asking me how it went, and I had like two main thoughts that popped up. The first one was that I thought it was literally one of the most magical things I'd seen online, because it was so like, it's everything that if you've ever looked up anything about like strategically growing online and like, oh, this is how I build a community and this is how I do it. It's basically, don't do that. Don't do a 2.5 hour PowerPoint presentation. um, and then have people may not participate or whatever. And that's why I think it was so special, was because it was so genuine and pure and community minded. It wasn't like it's your channel, like your name's on the channel, and obviously then your name's on the community, but it's everybody's. And I think you've done a really good job, and I think that did a really good job of like, yeah, it belongs to everybody. And that's kind of the point here. And it was just so amazing that not only did that happen, but it happened on like a random weeknight. It wasn't like a scheduled thing. There wasn't like promotion. It was just like, I think I'm going to do this
I
thing.
scheduled it like 5 hours before.
Yeah. You had the idea that afternoon. So like, just sort of the purity, the genuineness of it. And then obviously, like, I know that sometimes you're worried, like, wait, is anyone else going to be on board with this or whatever? And the town halls are just like such a validation of not people just being on board, but like really wanting to jump in. As that stream was starting, the YouTube algorithm recommended a video to me called like "Why Every Bar Looks the Same," which like I don't go to bars, but or it's like every bar looks the same and I hate it. It was a guy talking about like design trends for bars, and basically how bars used to be really unique and warm and, you know, kind of funky, and everyone was a little bit different. And now everything, he calls them like a beer cafeteria, where it's big, open. You can sort of like do a bingo card checklist of what every modern bar will have, and a lot of it is not conducive to feeling welcome or feeling whatever. And it was interesting because it led to a bigger discussion, which maybe that's why the algorithm recommended it to me, because it knew I would like this. Led to a bigger discussion of that just happening in our world, of things being not just like samed, like everything is kind of the same, but everything's also cost cut down to like maximum revenue constantly, to the point where, you know, you lose the magic. Like if you think of what a McDonald's used to look like, right? I don't go to bars. I used to go to McDonald's a lot. McDonald's used to look really cool and have interior things. There was a play place, and a lot of that stuff doesn't necessarily contribute to the performance. And now every McDonald's is, and you know, every fast food place kind of looks exactly the same. You could just put the different logo on the building and it would be the other one. Like there's nothing really unique, and that's maximum cost efficiency. And it doesn't really matter to the people looking at those numbers that it kind of kills the magic of whatever it is, a restaurant, a TV show, an event, you know, whatever. So that was the video I was watching as your stream was starting. And then your town hall was all about, like, it's the opposite of that. It's the least cost effective thing in the world. There's zero revenue to be had. It's taking money and resources. It's taking energy. And it's amazing and magical, and that's why it's so good. And so the thing that popped into my head, like all this stuff kind of shifted, and I was like, oh my God, the thing you're doing is the antidote to this feeling of like everything is just sort of bland, gray, empty, cost reduction, maximum efficiency,
Right.
no soul kind of situation, which like is a lot of stuff. And they're like, there's not a lot of fun just in the world in a way that it seems like there used to be. And I don't think that's an internal thing. I think that is the world we live in has less of that, has less people made magic, less people oriented fun. And the thing that you're building with the community is the opposite of that.
See, I think actually hearing you say that, I think the reason why I'm so motivated and driven about it is because I don't know, it sticks out to me so much because it's missing everywhere else. So to me, it's just so obvious. It's like there's a giant beam of light here and then darkness everywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's like, why wouldn't I gravitate there?
Yeah, and that's, I mean, both of us living in the YouTube world, it's not uncommon for people to help out with things, but a lot of times when someone wants to help out, like, hey, be on my thing or do my whatever, it's like, what is, because then that will grow my audience, then that will do this, then that, and
so you're gonna shout me out, right?
you're
You're
gonna give a shout out, you're gonna do a collab, you'll be my video, I'll be in your video, release them the same day at the same time. It's all this weird strategic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is asking or expecting anything like that in the community, including you. And like it is literally just, it comes from a passion for the game. Like it's about a game, and that's what everyone got into it for. But then having a chance to like have these really cool experiences and then also create these really cool experiences for other people, like clearly you said last night, you were like, when you give people a chance to go, they'll go. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not for something in return. Like there was a thing I read yesterday, and I know it's probably a famous quote that I know, but it was like the point of a melody isn't the conclusion or something. Like, I know there's like, it's enjoy the journey, but yeah, if you think about the song, the point of making a song or listening to a song isn't to get to the end of the song. That's the worst. It's over. The point is like everything that's happening during, and that's like the whole ethos of the HJP community.
I'm glad I have that on video.
You were pressing record, right?
Did I push it? I did. The other thing I talked about earlier, I don't know if we want to, I don't know how I'll edit this, but like I found it. I just want you to look at that and like tell me what you think of it.
This is very bitter for sure. Yeah. This is like very bitter. And it's not even satirical in like a
right. It's not.
You could
satirical.
do like an SNL sketch, right? Like a parody satire sketch of a 14 streamer, and you could make a lot of jokes. You could maybe even include some of this stuff, but like
there's a tone here
there's a bitter tone of either someone who has watched just way too much or just wants to lump everything. Like what would make this person happy?
Right.
Because you're listing everything. So you're listing people playing the game as being bad. You're listing people interacting with the game as being bad. People interacting with the community, reacting to other things. Those are bad. That's lame. People playing genuine stuff. That's bad. People having emotion. That's bad. Like, what could you do? What could you do with this person to be like, yeah,
this is awesome.
There's no please here.
Well, so I want to be clear. I'm not trying to like whatever, that person is allowed to feel what they feel and create whatever they want. But if this is like a representation of what it's like to be in the 14 content community, oh my gosh, that makes me really want to shine a light on what's happening here.
Right. Because I think, I don't know. I feel like most people who play the critically acclaimed MMORPG.
How would you know?
Most people, it ignites people are passionate for it in a way that they're not passionate for just anything.
Other things, right.
And people do like to share in that. And clearly when given a chance to share in it positively and like, we've had people who played forever who are now exploring stuff that they haven't explored before in the game. We've had people who were maybe feeling like, oh, maybe I've reached the end, discover a whole new like way of playing the game. We've had people who, and all of these things then translate beyond it because
Right. See, that's the thing.
because it's not
It
even
goes
just
beyond your
about
life.
Final Fantasy, but like feeling more confident, comfortable communicating, feeling comfortable organizing events, putting yourself out there, trying something different,
Or
messing up in front of
spark
others,
of curiosity.
being curious, being
Yeah.
creative, like all of those things carry over into other stuff that you're doing and other relationships and other dynamics. And like, that's why you could argue like it's just a game all day, but no, this isn't a game. This is my life.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, babe.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I'm proud of you and I love you and you're the best.
You're so sweet. Oh, do you know I feel like he hasn't seen me because all I do is work on this and I feel bad.
I know, but you it's very, very cool. Like I'm very, very happy and excited. And I've seen you throw yourself into this in a way that's very different than
I feel
pretty
like
much
it's
anything else.
important.
Yeah.
You know?
It's wonderful. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. You're gonna shout me out for this, right?
I will get better at sharing the magic that's happening here because I just feel like it's so important for people to know that a community like this exists. That despite all this stress and bad news and negativity and transition and scariness, this exists. And it's powerful. It's powerful. It's meaningful. I think it's going to have a huge ripple effect in people's lives that are a part of it. So I think it goes beyond the 100 people that are in it right now. I think it goes so far beyond that. It's almost like, you know, the Crystarium. In a world that is like doomed, there is something where people are a part of something that is important. You know, that something that is positive, something that, I don't know, something that they can care about and not feel dumb about it. I'm here telling you I care about this because I think it's important and you can too. And if anyone wants to say it's dumb, come at me. Let's go.